I welcome you in the second part of the workshop. In the first part of the workshop, we introduce the basic concepts of the BI like ETL process, the difference between the OLTP and OLAP, and what is the data warehouse. In this second segment of the workshop, we will design a report in Power BI desktop representing the coronavirus cases in the world. We will get the data from the website worldometers.info. Before starting the report, let me talk about some of the very important BI tools. The dashboard cannot be prepared into the desktop, and reports cannot be shared among the different elements and the different segments of the company. The report sharing and the preparing the dashboard, these are the two features which are provided by Power BI service. This is the cloud service of Power BI. The third element is the Power BI mobile, means all of the reports which we are preparing are mobile compatibles. Means the figures will be adjusted if you watch or you see the reports on the mobile, then all of the reports will be adjusted according to the size of the mobile and about the features of the mobile. And the last segment is not for all. This is the BI for developers. If you are working with the R or you are working with the Python, so you need the developer version of the BI, right? So last three part are the paid services, and the first one is the open source, and you can use the open source directly for your purposes or your businesses. I will describe the first part in this workshop only. There may be a chance that I will continue the series of workshop in which we will consider the Power BI service and the other tools later on. But it's totally depend on your interest, how many of you have interest in to the other segments of these and other series of this workshop, right? Now these are the different elements, and these elements are what? Start by the Power BI desktop. What the Power BI desktop is, we have a query editor, we have the data view, we have the reports view. These are the three major elements in a Power BI. Query editor, which prepare the queries. The data view, which can Excel format data can be viewed in a Power BI. Now the report view visuals can be report view. We have a visuals, right? After completing the report, we can move to the Power BI service and other tools and then so on, right? So this is a very simple way of describing the path into our second part. The data preparation, the query editor, the data view, relationship view, and the report view. I will demonstrate all of these steps in Power BI directly, so I am not spending time in introducing theoretically here. Instead, we have to describe them. This is the main screen of Power BI. And after the few of the slides, I will change my sharing towards the Power BI tools, right? Instead of presentation, then we will work lively. I'm skipping all of these features now. What the Power BI do, ETL process, already I described. Creating report and dashboard, I already described what the report is, what the dashboard is. And then this is the main screen of Power BI. I think all of you have open at your laptop or your computer this screen. What this screen shows, these are the different icons we have here. So we call it as the Power BI ribbon. We have the views. This is your report. This is your report view. This is your data view where you can view your data set. This is your relationship view in which you can see the data models. The data module can be seen by using these three views. So we have to control the things by using these three views. But in the latest version, we have the four views. I will demonstrate you the latest version because I installed the BI a couple of days before in my laptop, which I changed in last week. Now, these are the visuals. This is your canvas. This is your blank canvas. Your report is to be prepared here. And what are the visualization tools? These are the visualization tools. By using these, this is your chart, this is your funnel, this is your card, this is your, so these are the tools which we have to drag and drop over this canvas and prepare the report. So the first thing is what? First thing is to link the data. If you link the data, then the fields will be mentioned here in the field list. So in the field list, we have the data frames, data structures, and we have then draw the pictures here, then connect the picture with the fields and so on. So this is a simple strategy to build the reports. Now you can download the coronavirus, and the link is already shared to you, worldometers.info.coronavirus. I will demonstrate the first presentation in which we have to make this report. So this report is to be prepared here lively. Everyone has to, we have to connect with data. Where we will get the data? The data will get by the web source which I have provided. This is the website where the coronavirus cases are maintained regularly up to now. It is not a period of COVID-19. All of the cases are recorded lively over this website, which the links I have provided to you. From that website, I will draw the data, I will extract the data, and then we will prepare the report here. So this is the way, and this is the way which we will follow. Now coming to the Power BI. So I am just changing the sharing of screen and moving towards the software Power BI. This is the main GUI of Power BI, and this is the canvas. These are the different tabs: report view, table view, model view, and the new tool which we have is a DAX query view. Means the DAX language can be performed and commands can be typed here in the DAX query view. The question is how to get the data. The very first step, because we are going to prepare the report. So this is the option, get data. Get data will give you the different sources from where you will get the data. Otherwise, you can, if you know the name of the data source, just click Excel. If you have a data in SQL Server, just click this. So different tabs are here, different icons are here. You can click these icons, but generally the menu can be opened by just clicking the get data. Get data, where you have your data. My data is in the web source. It is not in Excel file. It is not a CSV file. It is stored over a website whose URL I have provided to you. So now moving towards the other, and in other we have a web, just the first one. In the other, click on the web. If you click on the web, click connect. Here you have to provide the link which I have shared to you. The link is given into the PPT as well. Just I am this is the link worldometers.info coronavirus, and the link should be pasted here at this place and click OK. Now you have the two views, table view and the web view. In the web view, the complete website where these coronaviruses are recorded, you can see. This web page contains the descriptions, the paragraphs, as well as it has tables. So our interest is in table, so we have to gather the data from the table, come to the table view and connect with the table one. There are the two options here. One is the load, other is transform. If you click on the load, the data will be stored into your field list. The fields are populated here. If you click over the transform data, then you will move towards a new screen, which is referred to in Power BI as query editor. So query editor is a very important part where you can edit and modify your data. If you have to modify your data before preparing the reports, to click on the transform data. If you want to use the data directly, to load the data. To load the data is a command which you have to specify. After loading the data, we will have the data here on the last tab. Apply changes. In table one, you can view the contents of the table by clicking at the data view or the table view. So this is my data set in which we have countries, the total cases, the total deaths, total recovered, new recovered. These are the different fields in my data. These fields can be seen here. Some of the fields are numeric field. Some of the fields are non-numeric fields. Non-numeric field, in numeric fields, we have a sigma symbol before the field. In non-numeric field, we have no icon over there for the non-numeric field. Calculations can be performed on the numeric field, and we cannot perform the calculations on the non-numeric field. Suppose your total cases, this is your total tests, is a numeric field. Right justified data you can see as you will face into your Excel. So you can see the data which is a right justified data as you have the numeric data in Excel and on a right justified way. Right. So few of the column are not right justified, like serious cases. So in serious cases, we have one thing we have is a left justified, which is indicating that the data is not stored appropriately as a numeric field. It is stored as a text field. So we should have to convert the such column, which are actually the numeric column, but are stored in a text-based version. So these columns we must have to convert before using them because we have to complete the few of the measures here like totals, the average, the standard deviations and other things. These measures can be performed on a numeric field, right? To numeric fields, we should have to convert the data before using it. Now coming to the canvas, and on the canvas you have to prepare your first report as giving you over the slide. Now the very first visual, these are the different visuals that we have here. The very first visual which is needed for this report is slicer. Where the slicer is, you can see this is your ribbon chart, this is your funnel, this is your donut chart, and this is your slicer. So click over the slicer. The slicer will comes to the canvas. Then you have to integrate this slicer with the with the field. Which fields are needed for it? We have to integrate the slicer with the countries field. So just drag the country field. This is your country field, and drop the country field into this place. So you can see that the output over the slicer, the countries are there. Now you can see the different countries, and in the slicer. You can extend the size. You can change the few of the properties of the slicer. For example, you can increase the text size. You can modify the titles and so on. So there is it. Just by clicking if you click over the canvas and click on the format painter, then these are the properties of the entire report. So if you want to change the properties of report, then use this technique. But if you want to modify the properties of the slicer, then first click over the slicer and then come to the format painter. So this is your slicer. Click on the slicer and click on the format painter. Increase the header font size. In the properties slider header is on. Click on. You can change the slicer header by countries. You can change the font size. You can make it bold. You can change the color. And other thing you can modify, right? Similarly, second step is to select a card. In the new version, we have the two types of cards. This is your old card, traditional card. And one more card we have here, this one is a new version of the card. So you have to click on the traditional version of card, and you have to change the field of the card by total cases. So just click on the total cases. These are the total cases, and drag the field of the total cases and drop over the field. Now we have the 4 million total cases. You can adjust the size. You can change the few of the properties of the card, like you can change the display unit. Display unit means what? We don't want to see it as M for millions. We want to see the actual figure. So you have to change the display size. Display unit is automatic. You have to change the display unit to none. Now you can see that the visual is indicating the actual value, not the units over there. Now you have to change the title, and title can be changed by general properties. We have title. By default, the title is off. Just open the title and put a text here into this box, and the total cases is the title which we are interested in. Center the title, change the font size, change the font color, whatever you need. And you can also change the background color. You can text color and the background color. These are the two different things. Total cases. After making this this card, you have to copy the card, copy the visual, and paste it 5 times. Because in the different cards, we have to mention the few other properties. And what that properties are? That properties are total cases, and second thing is active cases. To change the second field as active cases. So click on the active total second card. This is the second card which I am going to edit. And active cases is the field in which we are interested. So just delete this total cases field and active cases drop here. You can see the 0. Why this is 0? Because this is very important. When I drop the field here, it shows the first active case. Just drop it. First, last, count this. 159 cases. 159 is basically the number of cases here in the data set. So we have to change the few of the properties. What properties you want to change? Actually, this is a numeric field, but it's stored in a pattern of text. So we have to edit the data types. We have to modify the data type. How can we modify the data type? I will describe it in a moment, but before to modify the data types of the total cases, click on the transform button here. This is your transform button. If you click over the transform button, the query editor will be open. So now you can see that a new window is going to open. Now you can see that the active cases is converted into the numeric data, and we have to click over the option home, close, and apply. This step of changing the data type will be the data is shown. The transformation step under progress. We have to close this, and one thing we have to change here after all of these alterations, and that thing is what? The thing is we have to change the field count of active cases to the sum of active cases. While it was not numbered, the sum, the average, the minimum, the maximum were not shown. But after converting it into the numeric data, all of these summaries is shown. Now the sum of the all cases is there. Similarly, you have to change the rest of the cards, but I'm not investing time in modifying all of the cards. You can do it yourself because that is a very time consuming. If you prepare the card 1 or 2 times in a similar way, you have to prepare all of the remaining cards. The next thing that is to be shown here is to take a donut chart. This is your donut chart. Click on the canvas first and then click on the donut chart. This is your donut chart. And in the donut chart, we have to identify which field is to connect with the donut chart. So we have to connect active cases, the total death, and total recovered. So 3 fields are to be shown here: the active cases, the total death, and the total recovered. Active cases is there. In the values, you have to drop it. And the second field is the total death. Total death, this is your field, total death. And the third one is total recovered. Total recovered. But still you are facing that the total recovered is not a numeric field. It is a numeric field, but it's stored as a text. So you have to do a same step of modify the data type of the total recovered. So there is no impact of the total recovered here. The reason is this field is not a numeric field. So before moving next, you should have to convert this visual too. Now you have to change the other properties. I am skipping the few of the steps just to save the time. Few of the properties what to change. You have to change the active cases, the title of this donut chart. We have title. By default, it is on. And you have to change the title of the donut chart. And the title which is required is, you can see the picture, what the title of the donut chart is. The percentage category wise. This is the title, percentage category wise. You can change the colors, you can change the colors of individual and make it center, background. This is the text color. If you keep the text color as black and change the background as this, you have this visual. You can modify the border as well. So you have to set the properties yourself. I'm not going to introduce the each and every tidbits of the visual. Now you know the process, you learn the process, and then you can modify your visual yourself. Now the last thing, and the second last thing, which I have to introduce here in this report is clustered column chart. Clustered column chart this is your stacked bar. This is your clustered bar chart. We have to select it. This one. Now, in this, on the x-axis, you have to mention the countries. And in y-axis, you have to drop the active cases field. This is your graph. But I think this is not appropriate. Count is mentioned. We have the same, instead of sum, we have the count of the cases. So you can modify the field type here. And instead of this field, because it takes the time to convert the data type, I'm taking the another field like active cases. You can see the active cases here in the visual. But you can modify the few of the properties of this visual by controlling filters. How can we control the filters? And just click here, active cases, drop this, and numeric field can be represented here. You can apply the filter here, less than some numbers, greater than some numbers, because some of the fields have very few numbers and some of the fields have a very big numbers. So the figure is not mentioning appropriately. Suppose in one country, the active cases are too high, in other country, the active cases is too low. That is a scaling problem into the graph. So that can be controlled by some of the properties here in filters, right? So you can adjust the chart here. You can, last item which is needed here is stack bar. Just click the stack bar and change some of the properties of the stack bar. you have to put the countries here on the x-axis. Where is the countries field? This is the country field on the x-axis, on the y-axis, sorry. And on the x-axis, you have to consider active cases. Not only the axis, on the y-axis, you have to consider the total cases, the active cases, and the new cases. Total cases. Second thing is active cases. This is. And the third thing is new cases. New cases, this is. And then you can modify the properties of this visual. Finally, you have to prepare your report and move all of the visuals into your report in an appropriate way so that all of the visuals is adjusted according to the page size. You can minimize these tabs so that your screen will be the larger screen, and you have to design this report according to the visual provided to you in the slide, like it. You have to prepare your report exactly as we have here. ये देखिए अब आप क्या है. Right now, this report is indicating as all countries. Suppose if I click over Africa, then all of the visuals are adjusted according to the country Africa. If I want to select the more than one country, just hold the control button and click over the other countries. So you can compare the 3 countries or 4 countries here by clicking over your required countries. If you want to remove the selected part, you have this clear button. This eraser you have here, all of that. Now this is indicating total of all countries. One more thing, it is very interesting, which I must have to identify here. And the visuals are not showing exactly the same thing as I have on the slide, is this total. What this is total? This total is indicating that all of the countries' active cases or new cases are added, and one bar is representing that. Basically, this field is distorting my figure. Why? The total is a very large figure and some of the countries are very small. So that is why the very large scale we have of this picture. So that can be modified by removing the total from your query. So I'm just removing the total from the query. Click on the transform again, transform data, come to the query editor, and in the query editor, click the field countries. You can scroll down countries and come to the T total. So there are the several total column here. You have to remove all of these total column here because these total are distorting the range and the scale of my figures. So how can I have to remove them? You can remove them by remove rows, transform, and here we have option of remove rows. Append queries, here, this is remove rows. How many rows I want to remove? Remove top rows, remove bottom rows. And how many rows are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the 8 rows. To remove bottom 8 rows. Okay. All of these totals are eliminated from the data set. Now you can observe the effect over your figures. Just close and apply. Effect is under process. close. Now you can see that the total is not here. Still the world, you have to remove it too. Why? In the world, all of the countries are accumulated and we have world here. Still you have to remove the world because we are interested only in the country wise. If you want to see the data as the overall world, just select all. If you select all, then actually accumulated and accumulation process is performed and your process will be accordingly adjusted.